Welcome to...
What is a clicker you could have brought up and used?
There is, but like, I feel like I've broken the clicker. Never mind. Welcome to Constructicon. How are we all doing? Right, just a quick one before we start. First time at TFNation-ers, show yourselves. Again, so this is a panel where ourselves, who are some of the organisers who helped put this event on, come up on stage to answer your questions. At the end of the day, this event happens because we organise it, but it doesn't happen unless you come. So ultimately, we want to hear from you, both good and bad, everything about the weekend. I'm joined on stage by Billy, the man with the stripes. Billy is boss. And then at the far end is our creative director, Mr. Andrew Turnbull. Our closing ceremony will be starting at 5:30, but ultimately this runs as long or as short as you want it to, assuming that it doesn't run past 5:25. So, any questions in the room?
Response! Response!
No, that's a statement. Please put it in the form of a question.
I'd just like to say one thing on the response, if that's okay. I'd like to thank everyone for taking part in the largest social experiment we ever conducted. It's been 10 years, but having a firm idea on who showers and who doesn't has been good.
Who'd have thought that we would have gone with an option where they didn't test its resilience to water? A very uncommon substance, I'm sure you'll agree.
Well, to give them a due, who was at Manchester Minicon this year? Trans. It's the same company, so we don't know if it's maybe a bad batch or anything, because they were fighting for Manchester, which is why we went with them, because of sustainability. Because all joking aside, when we produced the fabric wristbands, which are lovely, and I have a great fun designing the colour palettes and schemes to it, we always have to get more produced than we can ever use, because we need spares for repairs. And at the end of the day, they get chucked away. It's a bit of a waste, which is why Sam, also one of our crew, is very big on us trying to be eco-friendly, which is strange in an event which is basically about buying plastic. But, you know, every little helps.
Yeah. But it is something that we have definitely heard in regards to the wristbands. It is definitely something we have said over the course of the weekend. So it is not something that we are going to forget. Let's put it that way. Yeah, the great wristband saga of 2025. Anybody who can put any other questions?
Well, just before we move on, as a sustainability consultant, I really appreciate the effort that you're trying to make. So thank you.
Thank you. Yes. I should point out, by the way, as well, that should you not have any questions for us, we will start asking you questions. We've got a hand down here. I think we've got somebody at the back. Sorry,
I just wanted to ask what it would take to get back to the lanyards, because I find they're a much more memorable piece to have. I still have mine from my Olive Assembly, the early TFN. All the way to get them back something a bit more memorable than the wristbands.
Autobot.
Honest answer, probably not. What we found was, this isn't a nice topic, but hey, not every topic is nice. So what we found was that the lanyards were promoting the idea that maybe you could come into TFNation without paying to come into TFNation. And the problem with that, I mean, as much as we'd love you to all come in for free, is that John over there charges us loads of money for this stage. So it's his fault. That's why. So it's unlikely. But what I will say though is that we do have some lanyards for attendees who require them for various health or accessibility requirements. And you may not have known from this year, but we're making an effort to try and make them renewable are more eco-friendly as well, because it's all well and good as having nice wristbands, but then you get a big plastic laminated tag on the end of the lanyard. Even if it's for fewer people, it still kind of defeats the whole thing. So probably not is the honest answer. We could always have them as like an optional thing, because I know some people like to have them anyway. But I think wristbands are probably the way forward, provided we can find some non-disintegrating variety.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, where are
Dave, to your left.
Oh, right in front. Hello.
Hi Dave, hi everyone. No question, but I just want to take the opportunity, and I'm sure I speak on behalf of everyone here. Thank you for everything that you do, putting this on, because you're very quick to give us all a round of applause for coming along and being a great part of the community. I personally don't think you guys take the time to take the credit yourselves for the work that you have to do, and just quickly, in addition to that, with this being obviously subject to change for the schedule, or schedule, depending. Schedule, yes.
I'd like to point out there are previews where that was correct. I was editing it, made the mistake, but someone else here had final sign-off on it, who normally would have spotted these sort of things and has an attention to detail normally on panel level. You let us down, Billy. You let the whole community down. And what do you have to say for yourself?
Not much, I haven't got my own microphone. I'd just like to apologise to my parents, to my entire church community, to every single member of the TFNation organisational team and volunteer crew. I'd especially like to apologise to the TFNation volunteer crew about what happened with your t-shirts as well. I will be more careful with typos next year.
I love a humble man. Hello, yes.
So, 2026, 40th anniversary of the movie. Any special plans you can leak to us ahead of time?
Oh my no.
Is the next anniversary is the 20th anniversary of the 07 movie, right? Nothing's happening next year.
No, Battle of the Rock Lords.
Battle of the Rock Lords, that's right, yeah. It's a funny one, isn't it, that? We're in no position to be, like, genuinely, we're not trying to avoid it. We've had conversations, but the true work begins when Mr. Turnbull and I drive back up to the glory of the north, go up the north.
Strictly speaking, it's still south for me.
Yes, that's true, we've talked about it, we know how big next year is for a lot of people. It's on our radar, but, and I think this is an important thing, we have to consider something very important, which is, and we have the numbers to prove this, the demographic of Transformers is changing.
I mean, basically, old farts like us are a dying breed. Not because we're actually literally dying, I hope. I have plans. But we have the benefit of quite a few things that have shifted that number down further away from my age to, you know, people with functioning hips and backs that don't belong in pain at the end of the day.
I was having a very interesting conversation today with a bunch of people, and we were looking at the fact that if you are in your early 20s now, you don't remember a time when Michael Bay's Transformers movies didn't exist. No, like, this isn't like a negative thing. This is, there are people in this room probably who don't know a time when the MCU didn't exist. Yeah, exactly. Not only that as well, but that means that if you were at that ripe age of 7 or 8 when the first Transformers movie came out, and that was your first introduction to Transformers, if you were playing with toys before then, you were playing with the Unicron Trilogy toys. Yeah. So while we appreciate that next year is a landmark year for the 1986 movie, 40 years, and we all know the importance of that movie, will say is that we will not forget all of the fans that have come after that movie. Yeah, over there.
Hello.
Hello.
My question is also about sort of the fan community aspect. Have you ever considered having any panels run by fans? Maybe something about like the cosplay community or anything like that?
We have, and this year has been quite crowded, even with one of our guests not making it to this country. So what we ask is if you have an idea for a panel, is submit it to us because we will review it to make sure it's something that's genuinely interesting and also that we can discuss what assets are needed, what can be done. Because we've had several, we've had Maz and Sixel doing toy photography. We've had Matt Marshall talking about all the customs he makes and how almost everything he does is, all the side effects are, you might die.
Yeah, we even had, and I don't know if anybody remembers this one, it was like one of the best attended panels I remember. We had a good friend of ours, Mikey O'Sullivan, who is a paleontologist. He came, do you remember this panel? He came in and basically explained like what the Dinobots actually are, you know, like the history of it. So we've definitely done that in the past. It is all about the idea and whether or not it works at the time that you want to put it on. So certainly, we're open to that.
I'd just expand that a little bit as well, if that's okay. So going slightly beyond just the fan with an idea, we're often approached by groups with an idea, whether that's podcast groups or YouTube channel groups or something else. And something that Dave in particular is keen on, and I think we both agree with him on this, is that if you think of, did anyone see the Triple Takeover panel? Yeah. Did you have a good time? Yeah. Okay, so one of the reasons why we really like the Triple Takeover panel is that it's not a panel about them. It's a panel where they've come up with something and they've thought, actually, this is something the whole room will enjoy. So there are groups you may never even have heard of who've got in touch with us who want to do panels about themselves, and that's not what we're looking for.
I'm so glad you were nice there, because Sixo's dead-eyeing me right now. But yes, definitely. Yeah, over here.
I've got a question. I've got a pretty good answer. Is probably going to be later. We'll say this one. So this one's a two-parter. First, I'm up from Scotland coming down, so I don't usually get to go to the mini-cons. So I just want to say thanks. First of all, the TFNation, the Gathering Glasgow, was a great wee get-together. And whether or not that might be something that could happen again up north, that's question one. Question two, that I think is probably going to be, wait for it. You've told us from the opening ceremony, this is the largest TFNation, this is the largest Transformers convention in Europe that we've had so far. Do we have a number for it?
I'll answer the second part, and I'll let you take the Scottish question.
Sorry, we'd like to be called Scotch.
Sorry. The reason that we haven't given a number is because people kept buying tickets.
Can I just say something on the number part? And I mean this in like a really nice way, because we're not dodging the question. If we've got a number, we'll give it a that. But like, I don't care what the number is. And I know that sounds really weird, but like, if it was 12 of you, I mean, it'd be the final TFNation. I'd be bankrupt, you'd all go home, it'd be terrible. But we'd make sure those 12 of you had the best time we could give to you. So like, I don't know, it's always an interesting question. It's nice to be like, oh, we've got a big number, and it is nice, because it shows that the show's well supported. I'm more interested in things like the demographics, when I see that actually there's such a rise in the mid-20s sort of attendee range. I think that's really good, because that shows that we're doing something that hopefully appeals to lots of different generations. But if you got a number, give me a number, mate. Yeah. Just all make one up. 20 million.
Yeah, it felt like it in that trader hall on Saturday morning. Yeah, Yeah, you go have a look.
I'll field question one.
Yeah.
So first of all, a big thanks. He's probably not in the room because he's dismantling his stall, but thanks to Moff for Prime Time Toys, because it was the two of us that basically ran it, so equal shout out. So a big round of applause for Moff. So, funny enough, Moff and I have had a little chat in between running, both of us running about like the proverbial blue backsided flies. Notice I didn't swear there. Good there. But honestly, we are talking and looking at trying to get dates. The problem is we're now at August, so we are looking at when we're booking things. I do need a little bit of time off for sleep and other human pursuits. So we're getting closer to Christmas, so maybe. So we will have one, because the idea of the gathering, so has anyone been to any of the gatherings? So just so we're not expecting everyone visit Scotch. So what we'd like to do with the gatherings, for those that don't know, is have a smaller, more informal get-together, usually in a pub. Again, the British syndrome of you can only hold events in pubs where you get alcohol. But it's a nice get-together, so you don't have to pay for a start. You have to pay for your drinks, obviously, we're not covering them. Just get together, and it just lets us touch in with each other throughout the year. So rather than it being that long between we see some people, and the gathering were also the test bed for what became the Manchester Minicon, because we had so many people turn up to the first Manchester gatherings. Like, we probably need to do something a little bit bigger. So wait and see, and with the rest of the UK, because we haven't forgotten about you. There will be other gatherings around the country, because we do want to kind of move them. Birmingham will always be where TFN Central is held, but we appreciate everyone comes from various corners of the UK and further afield. So we will try and move the gatherings to places that make sense, and they're also easy to get to.
Yeah. And please remember as well, we are on like a 3-month turnaround for these things. We need to sleep at some point. Billy has showed me a number though. Do you want to know what it is? Billy said the number's not important though. Do you want to tell him?
I mean, I can. Again, I'll happily tell you, and you'll probably go, woo, and that's cool, and we really appreciate your support and stuff, and it is a great number, and to be fair, it is a great representation of what the community has achieved, and the level of work as the crew and all the volunteers have to put in to deal with this mass of humanity. As I say, just please bear in mind that caveat I say that, you know, if it wasn't this number, we'd still be thrilled that so many of you came and supported us. But yeah, your new European attendance record for a Transformers convention is 1,901 attendees.
Billy likes Britain's numbers, so attendee 1,901, you have made his list.
Question, I think, over here.
Do you guys think you can ever get Daniel Warren Johnson as a guest?
Daniel Warren Johnson? Possibly at some point. When we talk about guests and we get asked, no one's ever really off the table unless they're dead, in which case I need to find a necromancer and an unburying shovel. This has been discussed before for the Orson Welles.
Yeah. If they have been involved in Transformers in some way, they're for consideration. Yes, hello.
Hi. With TFNation's growing popularity, and if Hasbro being more involved every year, would it be possible that we have an exclusive figure like BotCon used to?
No.
It's a fair question, because we do get asked this fairly regularly, but it's just the numbers, even in that grow every year, do not justify the cost of doing that without us. You could get an exclusive toy, but you'd be paying through the nose for it, and I don't know about anyone else, but I think Transformers are expensive enough right now.
Yeah.
We don't need to be paying more if we don't have to.
That number that you heard there is fantastic. It's the biggest show we've ever done. It's the biggest Transformers convention outside of the United States. But the numbers don't justify something like that. It should be clear as well that, you know, Hasbro's involvement, especially this year in relation to it, that couldn't happen without our partner at In Demand Toys. they're the ones that really made that magic happen. You know, we would love to work more closely with Hasbro. We've got a great relationship with a lot of their licenses. The Battersea team who were there, the PUBG Mobile team who were there. You know, the Bloggies, absolutely. I can't even believe I forgot about them, to be honest. But the reality is yeah, we would love to work closely with them, but something like a toy is just, the production numbers on things like that are just insane. And I don't think I would feel good about selling a deluxe toy for like £7,000, you know. How do you feel about spending £7,000 on a deluxe toy? Yeah. Next question, if we've got any. Oh yeah, over there.
Speaking of younger fans, would there be in the future panels for newer sublines like Earthspark and Cyberverse?
Yeah, absolutely. I love both of those shows. If we can figure out a way to make it work. It's difficult. One of the things that, so pretty much everything that happens on here is my baby. It's not me alone, it's a collaborative effort amongst everybody. But what I always think is that if we're going to do a show and we're going to put something on for you, Transformers has to be the thing that's important. So if I'm doing something, let's say about Earthspark, that panel has to involve somebody who was involved in Earthspark, or alternatively has some incredible information and can relate it in an interesting way about Earthspark. So it's not about just me telling you about Earthspark. I'll tell you about Dreamwave.
Only up until November,
yeah, when Dreamwave is retired. But yeah, again, you know, if the audience is there, we want that, and we want to be able to cater to every Transformers fan. It's just about finding the right way to do it. And unfortunately, what you tend to find is that the newer a show is, the more difficult it is to be able to either get talent involved in it, or alternatively, to be able to make headway, because you don't have a complete picture of it, and you don't know what your angle is.
And yeah, we've had guests before who have been worked on previous Transformers shows, but were then working on the current property, but were under NDA, so it's like, we're doing this, I can't tell you anything.
Yeah. Nick, for example, with Earthspark, you know, Nick was one of the character designers there, but when we knew about it, couldn't really talk to him about it.
Just going to add a little bit on that, and it's feeding back to the question earlier about who would you book and that sort of thing. So I think that's a really good question, so I want to address it. And I need to be really careful how I say this as the person who books the guests and stuff. With next year being the big anniversary of something that happened 40 years ago, other than my birthday. Don't clap, I'll be 42 by then, it really is other than my birthday. I will just say some focus has gone into making sure fans like yourself will enjoy some panels next year. And that's the closest you'll get to a tease from me, but I think if we get our way, we'll be able to really honour that thing that happened all that time ago, and some of the more modern stuff as well. So I think that'll be a good time.
Yeah. Where are we? Over there? Oh no!
Sorry, I know. Who's your favourite member of Triple That's a joke. You're going to say Maz. So guys, it is epic what you achieve every year. I'm always impressed, particularly the numbers that you're getting. So,
likewise,
an insight into what happens behind the scenes. What's the biggest challenge bringing TFNation together? And through the collective years, what are you most proud of?
I don't think you can see what's the biggest challenge, because we've been talking at length all weekend and in meetings and what have you, we're at the stage now where it's this basically runaway train that you're on board and you just have to keep up with. And we just somehow seem to find a way. To go back a few years when 2020 was going to happen and then didn't, we're like, what do? We need to do something. Let's put on an online convention. How will we do that? I don't know, we'll find a way.
Yeah, we did. And the way we found that was by me interviewing people while working from home when I should have been working in my day job. That's a good one, that though, isn't it, really? Is the idea that we could have taken 2 years off, and we didn't because we just wanted to do something for people, even though we wouldn't get to see anybody. I could talk about like all of the cool things that we've done. I think even just this weekend, under very tight deadlines, myself and Mr. Turnbull, Jim, Chris, the other Chris with a K, you know, being able to put that audio piece together because Jim managed to find it. Stuff like that is the stuff that I absolutely love. As far as challenges go, it's having to walk away from something that you know is cool, but is completely unviable. And that's usually Mr. Turnbull who tells me it's not viable.
Yes. Dave will sometimes have an idea. Again, the Dreamwave one, it was, can we print this? I was like, no, Dave, we can't. It will look absolutely terrible. It's just too low res. But the best thing about the team is no one's precious about ideas. A big thing that it was great that you gave us a round of applause earlier on, but part of that is there's not a lot of ego in that, and we want to keep it that way. It's about putting on the show. It's the event that's more important. So who went to admit one? Who went to the cinema? Yeah. Did you all want the VHS tape? Yeah. So Dave goes, for the cinema thing, I've got an idea, we'll get Dave Cousins to do a print. And I just went, no, I've got a better idea. And then said, we'll do the VHS, just it'll be a daft fun thing. And so I spent quite a lot of time trying to track down VHS cases. Apparently they're not shots anymore.
Yeah, ironically, Toy Fu had a lot of video cassettes.
Yes, thank you, Matt Marshall, for the 70 odds, and Nick Davidson for the 40 odds, so it helped finding them. I also got to judge Nick's video collection.
And just on the back of that one, you know, this is a tiny little insight into the best laid plans of mice and men, but what we do, on Thursday night, we had to assemble all of those cassettes, put all the covers in, right easy, right? Except for the fact that VHS cassette boxes are not universal in size.
It's not the box that's the problem, it's the sleeve for it, and so they're all of a size that the inlay would go in. Well, one of them was. Dave Cousins got that one box.
Yeah, Dave Cousins has the only, there he is in the back there. He is the only one who has a fully perfect poster. Every single one had to be cut.
So, me and Dave were gainfully employed with some knives and a straight edge and ruined the top of a flight case by scoring it 200. Well, 500 times technically we have to chop both ends, so that was a fun night.
Yeah, and you know, at the time, horrid. Looking back 2 years later, it's probably going to be something we'll talk about for years. Like, just laugh about it. But yeah. Any other questions? Oh, over there, yeah.
What's your policy on showing fan films? Because the only reason I ask is because oftentimes you show, for example, the 86 movie or even the 07 movie. And I was wondering if at any point in the future you'd be willing to show fan films made by other fans that have got their own stories to show on the screen and whatnot.
We've shown them before. Is Joe Powell in the room? Joe? No? Joe does some incredible stop motion animation, and he produced a stop motion movie which we showed a couple of years ago. It depends whether or not, one, people have got it, and two, whether or not they want us to show it, and also whether it would fit with our audience.
I'm actually going to double back to another question quickly, if that's okay. But I just want to answer you first, Sammy, there, just to say, as somebody who doesn't watch any movies, the idea that more people are allowed to make them is repulsive to me. So if I could get rid of every movie, I would do that.
Except Jurassic Park 1, 2, 7, 14. Yeah.
Terminator 2. Yeah, absolutely. Can I just, sorry to go out of order, can I just double back and answer the previous question a bit there? So the biggest challenge thing was, somebody asked, what are you most proud of? And it took me a moment to think of it, because you start thinking, oh, we did this concert, or we did this presentation, or whatever. I've told this story before, but like who's new here? Who's not been before? Excellent. My story has not been heard by some people, so thank you very much. So when I started doing this with these guys and all of the rest of the crew, I was a horribly, terribly anxious person who would not go anywhere near a stage. And I remember people used to ask me, like, how long are you going to do this for? And my answer was always, I'm going to do it until such time as that, by the way, this sounds like a horrible euphemism, I'm just going to put it out there. I'm going to do it until such time as that you could sit by any stranger in a pub and strike up a conversation about your new Ultra Magnus and it wouldn't be weird. And I think it kind of got that way because pop culture has moved that way. And as a result, the goalposts have changed. And I think, honestly, the thing I'm most proud about, and it's of all of you, really, you've kind of bought in to the culture that we've tried to create here. Because when we started, and I'm very aware of how we three look on stage. This is just the crew you've got right now because we're all so busy, I'm afraid. But everybody looked like us. Everybody was our age. Everybody presented with the same gender as us. That's what the group was like. And we've always set about to make as inclusive an event as possible. So that's why, to go full circle to that attendance number earlier, big 1900, one unfortunately, but 1900, yeah, fantastic, that's wonderful, we're really happy. But what I'm really, really happy and proud about is looking out and seeing so many different faces, different ages out there. It's just brilliant, and we just can't thank you all enough for those of you who've sat around and thought, I'm not a 40-year-old man, however, I'm going to come and hang out with Andrew Turnbull this weekend. So that would be the one. So sorry for doubling back, but that's my answer. You're welcome.
Where are we going next? Over there, yeah?
As the video game that was outside the dealer room was out and seeing people play Optimus Prime or Megatron on the PUBG game, is there anything more like that that might be in future panels, like from games of past, or like Transformers Devastation, War for Cybertron, anything like that when we can actually have the tangible thing there that we can mess around with after the panel?
Yeah, so we've thought about doing video games and things like that, you know, an area where you could go. We've got a chill out room. The problem you've got with something like that is purely just a logistical one. You need to have the TVs, you need to have the consoles, you need to have the space. It's okay if you stick a PlayStation. Does anybody get this analogy? If you've got a swimming pool with some balls in it and you call it a ball pit and stick it in the corner, that's a convention apparently. You know, if we were to stick a PlayStation in a corner with a little CRTV, it doesn't really mean anything. The PUBG thing is great because it's relevant. The problem that we have run into when trying to look into the video games is that they are NDA'd to the hilt. It's very rare that somebody who produces a video game will leave that company and be able to really talk about it. It's a weird situation, but it does exist. It's not like voice actors who can talk about what happened in the studio and things like that. They're so protective over it. It's difficult, unfortunately. Where are we going next? Oh, we're getting asked by our own staff, Billy.
So mine's not really a question. Mine is a thank you to each and one of you. There's a lot that I don't think people see from behind the scenes, how much hard work you guys put into this. And personal conversations of, you know, between me and Billy and David, and just the amount of hard work that is put in to make this is what it is. Not many people will know, but I started out as a assembler, not really knowing much about Transformers at all. Nick brought me into it, not really knowing much about Transformers, but I got to love, and this is my second family. My first family is obviously my family, but this is my second family.
To make it clear, right now we are the face, but as Billy said, there are so many people involved behind the scenes throughout the year getting things done, as well as the rest of our crew and volunteers on the day to make this thing happen. As I said, it is a runaway train, it is a juggernaut. I almost said it.
Yeah. And let me just be clear here, you know, when we talk about this, we often look at like big picture. One of the bits of feedback that I've had all weekend, and this isn't me shilling, don't worry about it, but our legend passes, Nick, Dean, the whole team, everybody has raved about it purely because of the fact that they had the foresight to stick a couple of chairs in there. Suddenly, you go in and you're sat next to, in a casual conversation, the person that you want to meet. You know, you're not stood behind a table or anything like that. We didn't think of that. At least, I don't think we did. You guys did. Like, that was your plan, your idea, and you made it work. And every single person who has come up to me and said, oh, that was a really good idea. I'm like, I can't take credit for it. It's you guys. So it's not just us, as you say. It's the entire team. It really is. Right. We've got time for a couple more. Hello.
Hi. I'm a massive lover of music, and I believe in keeping it live, and Oz. I love Transformers because I'm here for that too. Just wondering if there's any chance of getting Stan Bush back again, maybe, or maybe is that Cybertron Express? Yeah, maybe something like that.
I'll field that one. So Cybertron, because we've been asked this before, the honest answer, the economics don't work because you're getting an entire group and all their gear, all their equipment, so there's a lot of shipping and insurance for it.
Yes, of course.
So
yeah.
we were lucky with Stan that Stan has a band that he tours with in the UK. So we can get Stan, and we may get Stan again in the future. Again, we're always open to bringing guests back who've gone down well. But he has a band he tours with in the UK, so they were able to get them, so it makes it economically viable. If we get the 6, I think, members, 6 or 8 of the Cybertronics B, that takes a huge chunk out of the rest of the guests. So if you're not interested in that...
It's way too expensive, it's not financially viable, I think.
And it's also just making sure that the event caters to everyone, so if they happen to be on tour in the UK at the same time and there's something that could work, that's when it becomes reasonable. We always talk about it, as Dave said earlier, there are ideas that we would have that just aren't practical. Again, the exclusive toy goes back to the other, these are the things that we have to look at and sometimes just go, it'd be nice, but not right now.
Can I add my little logistical spin on that as well? Because it's always fascinating to us as the crew when we look back and we're thinking, oh, there was this thing, that was really good, when did we do that? That was 3 years ago. And then we look at 7 or something like that instead. And one of the things that I've had to remind myself when talking about big musical acts and things like that is that when we had Stan Bush, it was fantastic. TFNation was so much smaller that the Monocle, which is our trader room today, which I'm sure you've all enjoyed, was both our trader hall and our panel room. We hired this room just for ClubCon, but you had to hire it for the full day. So what that meant was we had an empty room all day where Stan could set up and rehearse and stuff. Now we have like a 2-hour turnaround, don't we, between this and ClubCon. So that's not to say it can't happen, but in order to make something like that happen, you'd either be looking at a fairly substantial schedule change or a floor plan change. So it's something that in mind, I like concerts, right? That was like my favourite thing that we've ever done. So I'd like to find a way to do another one at some point. There's just a few different pieces to put in place before we can make that work.
One more.
More of a statement than anything else about the accessibility. Everybody I spoke to who had accessibility requirements they were thrilled with the amount of accessibility we have here, so thank you for that. And with Chris personal thing, thank you, a shout out to Erin Mackinson and Jay, whose surname I don't know, for coming and sitting in front of me while I got a wheelchair. But yes, thank you so much for the access and making it accessible to all.
Go on, let's squeeze one more in. Come on. Run. Jump. I know. He's lazy.
I'm so sorry, person in front. So, quick statement, thank you very much for the, I believe, 10th TFNation, most sold out TFNation, potential largest TFNation. This seems like a year of anniversaries and records, and once again, you've knocked it out the park. Especially the community aspect. This is not like a temple of capitalism like other conventions, it is a true community and family of sub-families. Between our amazing board traders, our amazing cosplayers who up the bar every single year, and the traders as well, in stealing our money, you're all fantastic. But to get to my actual question, there's a lot of us in this TFNation family, and in an interesting experiment at Manchester Minicon, there were 2 dealer halls with the guests and the board just split in between them. Would that be something viable at the next TFN, so that everyone who wants to come can come?
It's better be more than no comment.
No immediate comment. Okay, yeah, I'll give you a full answer on that. I think that's a fair question. So last year sellout is an interesting word because ultimately we decide when we sell out. We're allowed to have more people in than we have, but we risk assess it and we want it comfortable for people. So then we knock a few off, and then that's where we get to. Last year, when we sold out the hall on the Saturday, and the other days were busy as well from memory, I had a conversation with the venue, who we get on incredibly well with, and they like all of you, by the way, so thank you very much, because that helps. And I got costings in for expanding TFNation within the footprint of this hotel. Ultimately, I should probably say, but I guess it's me who signs the thing, but ultimately we decided that wasn't the year to do it. And the reason why is because up till last year, our biggest demographic had been the 40 to 45-year-old range. So it was the 40th anniversary of G1, this year wasn't, and the next year the 40th anniversary of the 86 movie. So this felt like an easy skip year for a lot of people who might only come for landmark events. So this basically, in a roundabout way, was not the year to risk my house. I'm not saying I will next year, I feel a bit more confident about it now. So, I mean, if you'd like me to, would you like me to have that conversation again? No worries, I'll get my rental ready just in case.
Right, that is going to do it from us. We thought nobody was going to spend any time with us for 45 minutes, but they have. So, it's that time again, isn't it? I know. Give us a few minutes and we'll be back for our closing session.